one of our favorites on the program. Love talking to this guy, and he had a very hard-fought, hard-earned, deserving win against the veteran Cub Swanson on Saturday. In fact, won the Fight of the Night award. Well done, Andre Touchy-Fili on the program once again. There he is.
What's
Hello,
up, guys?
Andre. How are you?
What's up? What's up, guys? How are you?
I'm doing well. Little Shiner action there?
Yeah, just a little gift from Cub. He wanted to leave me something to remember him by, so I shout out to Cub. Thanks for the makeup. I actually think I look better with a little color on one side, a little asymmetry. So I'm just rocking with it.
You like
we
it?
got to play the hand we're dealt.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
You don't want it to go away.
Eventually, it'd be nice to go away,
Okay.
but for a week, week and a half, it's not bad to walk around with a shiner. This on top of the missing tooth and the throat tattoos, it does have its perks. It has its downsides. Obviously, it closes some doors, but it opens up a lot of other doors. Like, I don't get hassled by people walking to the store. You know what I mean? Like the annoying T-Mobile, like, hey, who's your cell phone provider? They try to stop you at Target. Like, they don't do that to me.
No one's bothering you.
No one's bothering me walking through Target. I can just enjoy my time in peace. So, there's upsides. I do get randomly security stopped quite a bit more frequently. I get randomly security stopped like going into Disneyland or something. But you play the hand you're dealt. You take the good with the bad.
Do you feel like people are watching you constantly? Like if you're just walking around, coffee shop, grocery, like do you feel like there's eyes on you? Like what is that guy's story?
There's eyes on all of us, brother. Have you ever heard of the Patriot Act?
Yes, I've heard of it. Wow. Oh yeah, no, it's a good point.
I definitely I look a certain way and I look a certain way. I think, sometimes people give me side looks, but I've learned to live with it. And I also take a lot of joy in sort of subverting expectations. Like Whole Foods is my favorite place in the world. Like it's my favorite. Like Whole Foods is church for me. Like I go to Whole Foods 3 or 4 days a week after training, and I just walk around and have like pleasant interactions with like older, upper middle class white people, and just have like pleasant interactions. And like there'll be a 65-year-old lady walking down the aisle, and she'll kind of give me a side eye, and we're in each other's way, and I just go, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am, after you." And I watch her face like light up and go, "Oh, well, thank you, young man." And like, I live for that. I also think there's something to be said. Like people look at me a certain way because I am covered in tattoos, but like I chose to get covered in tattoos, like I think a lot of heavily tattooed people have it wrong where they like sort of like have this like sort of fuck you attitude. Like, oh, like you look at me differently. It's like, of course people look at you different. You decided to get covered in tattoos. Like that's part of it. We're human beings. We profile everything all the time. That's how you survive. Like you should judge a book by its cover. Like you should. I recognize most people, like I'm a person who takes pride in being nice to people and being kind to people and helping people when I can. That doesn't mean that most people you meet with a black eye and no front tooth and throat tattoos are going to be nice people that you should trust and assume have your best interests. You should judge a book by its cover. If you pick up a Tom Clancy book and it's got a picture of a soldier with an AR-15 and you open it up, you kind of know what to expect. It's not going to be a romance novel, right? Like you should judge a book by its cover. So long story short, yeah, I do get looks, but I understand that most of that's on me, and I kind of enjoy the opportunity to prove people wrong and subvert expectations. And also when I just want to be left the fuck alone, it's like a poison dart frog that, it's got all these bright colors because, you at least should leave it the fuck alone.
I think you really like the juxtaposition of looking this way, but then also being a sweetheart.
Yeah, maybe for sure. I like proving people wrong, and I went down and got a bunch of crazy tattoos at 19 and 23 and even 27, and now I'm 34, and maybe I wouldn't go get those same tattoos now, but it's part of me. It's part of the story, and I embrace it. I'm like. I'm more than one thing. Like I'm a tattooed scumbag dude who rides Harleys and gets in fist fights for a living and talks shit and spits blood and like jumps around on stage and does vocals in a band and whatever, stage dives. But like, I can also talk to you about poetry and Dostoevsky and politics, and I love learning about religion. I love history. I want to go back to school and get a degree in history or philosophy. And I love learning, you know. So I like being able to do both things. You know, I'm not saying that I'm like some incredibly gifted genius guy, but I think I am more intelligent and more articulate than the average person gives me credit for. And you know, based on first look, and I like being able to prove people wrong. And like I said, I also like the option to be left alone when I want to be left alone. So, you know, it works out.
By the way, are you done with the tattoos?
Oh, I wish I was, brother.
Okay.
But
which is the most recent one?
The only way out is through, and I'm probably 3/4 of the way covered, maybe a little less. So we just gotta keep on keeping on.
Okay.
I'm headed to Orange County. Headed to Captured Tattoo in Orange County in Tustin, where I get tattooed. Shout out to the Captured boys. Great shop. And I got 3 days back to back booked to try to fill up the rest of this arm and a couple other spots. I'm going to do the next one. Is that what you asked? What's the most recent one, or what's the next one?
Most recent one. Like, and what does it signify?
The next one. So 2 things. The next one, I'm getting up a portrait of my bulldog who passed away, my bulldog Harley. So that one's going to be special. And then the most recent are I got an eagle, like a big eagle, which is, I mean, eagles. First of all, eagles are just cool. They're just a classic American tattoo. So I'm unironically patriotic. I love America. Also, my dad's father is from American Samoa, and so it's the American Samoan flag has an eagle. Also, it's got a bunch of lightning around it, and in Native American culture, the thunderbird was a vision of a thunderbird was a real significant vision for a lot of the chiefs, like the Lakota chiefs. I believe it was Crazy Horse had a vision of a thunderbird, which signified being a heyoka, which is sort of like in Lakota society was kind of like a sacred clown. It's like you play the role of like a clown and someone who kind of points out inherent contradictions, and it's a sort of a societal responsibility. Not that I'm necessarily that, but definitely inspired by those stories of those historical stories. The other one that of really great significance is I got this big Jesus.
Oh,
this big Jesus piece, and I wanted to specifically do a Jesus that wasn't blonde hair, blue eyes, and light skin, because that doesn't make much sense. So I did a little darker skin toned. It says in the book, skin of bronze and hair like sheep's wool. So we tried to be a little more historically accurate, and we also wanted to do a Jesus that was in the midst of his suffering, because I think that's the takeaway. Whether you're Christian or not, you know, I'm not a deeply religious person, but especially in the last few years, I've felt myself be like just be more moved and motivated by the story of Jesus Christ, because he willfully accepted this immense suffering because he knew that it was going to make the world a better place. You know, I think the willful acceptance of our own responsibility is one of the keys to a meaningful life, you know? And he's a great example of that. So yeah, those are the two most recent. And for everybody that thinks I'm a pretentious prick for taking 5 minutes to explain my tattoos,
no,
I also have like 40 other tattoos that have no meaning. I just thought they looked cool and I had space open. So they're not all like that.
Yeah,
there's plenty of tattoos that are just fun, dumb, cool looking tattoos that I wanted to get so I could look tough. Like, they're not all like that.
I like asking people about that stuff because I like to know if there's a meaning behind it, what it means to you, what it signifies. So that's on me.
Yeah.
Could I ask, this trend, it continues. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one. So now you're back. How do we go? How do we go on a bit of a run here? What needs to happen? Because now you're back in the winner's circle.
Yeah. I wish I had a clean, perfect soundbite answer. I'm a pretty good soundbite guy, I think, but I don't know if I have the perfect, clean, pretty soundbite for you for this one. I can just all I can do for success in my career is continue to be true to myself, be authentic, work my ass off, and enjoy this journey. And remember how blessed I am to do what I love every day. I've gotten back to enjoying this fight game, enjoying this process, enjoying this journey. And I believe it's going to set me down a path where I get on a win streak. I really make some noise in the division. I climb the top 15, top 10, top 5, and I will be the undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world before I retire. I'm going to be a world champion. It's been a very rocky road, but I wouldn't have it any other way, man. It's just our style, I guess, outcasts and underdogs.
You say you got back to loving it. So when did you stop loving it, and how did you get back?
It's like, man, I've been doing this. This has been my job since I was 15 or 16, you know, and I've been doing it full time since I was 20 or 21. I've been in the UFC since I was 23, and I just turned 34. Like I'm only 34, but I'm deep in this game, man. This has been my whole life, and this is like any other thing that you love. It's like it's a marriage. It's not always going to be the honeymoon phase. It can't be. You know, so at some point you show up and you just go through the motions, no matter how much you love something. You know, you're a dad, you're a husband, right? Like you're a good dad, you're a good husband. But I'm sure there's days where at the end of the day, you're laying in bed and you go, I probably could have done better today. I could have been more committed. I could have been more understanding today, more patient today, more generous with my time or my affection, or set a better example. It's the same thing with fighting. You know, you show up and you work your ass off and you put your hours on the mat every day, no matter what. It doesn't matter how you feel. That's what separates that's what separates professionals from everyone else. It doesn't matter how you feel. I show up, I train 3 times a day, I bust my ass, I work hard, I take pride in how hard I work. But there's still some days where you go like, at some point in the past 15 years, there's been days, there's been weeks, there's been months where you go, yeah, I'm going to work. You know, I clock in, I zone out, I do the work. I'm guilty of that, you know, and that's just being real. There's going to be guys who say that that's not true for them. I think they're liars. I think everybody along a long enough timeline can say that there have been times where this turns into a job. Thankfully, I was disciplined enough in those times where even when I didn't feel exceptionally motivated, my discipline made sure that I still stuck to my core values and made sure that I still got the work in. Now I've sort of come out the other side of that, and I'm having fun again. I'm enjoying it, you know? And part of that is a conscious decision to remember how blessed I am and be grateful for the fact that I get to fight in the UFC and the fact that 15-year-old me would literally kill to be where I'm at right now. Part of it is making the conscious switch to be grateful and to practice gratitude and to appreciate where you're at and not take it for granted. Another part of it is just riding the waves of life, ups and downs. Sometimes bad shit happens, you know. Sometimes you get hard times. Sometimes you get a bad deal. Sometimes you get a $50,000 fight of the night bonus. Sometimes everything's going your way, and sometimes it's not. And I think the key is just not getting too high with the highs, not getting too low with the lows, and practicing that gratitude. And I know it sounds a little cliche, maybe, but you can't be anxious and grateful. You can't be self-conscious and grateful. You know, you can't be practicing self-pity and gratitude at the same time. That gratitude erases all that shit. So when you're really rooted in gratitude and when you figure out your core values and you let those lead you, it gets easier to love what you do, and it gets easier to really know yourself. And I think as long as I just keep doing that, the wins will keep figuring themselves out. As long as I have fun, as long as I perform to the best of my ability, everything will be fine.
I'd love to maybe ask a follow-up and push back on one thing you said there.
Yeah.
Because you said something that spoke to me. You said you can't be anxious and grateful. So I'll equate it to my life. I'm an anxious person. I find myself probably more anxious than the common Joe, but I'm also very grateful. I'm also very grateful. Right. So I go through ups and downs. Is it problematic to be absolute? Why can't you be anxious and grateful? Why can't you be anxious about the fight, but also grateful about the fight, grateful about the opportunity? Why can't it be both in your opinion? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to put myself in your mindset. So why can't it be both in your opinion?
No, it's a great question. And I'm glad because now I can elaborate on that because I'm in your shoes too. I've dealt with depression since I was a single digit age. I've dealt with anxiety that's pretty severe. I'm incredibly obsessive compulsive, and that'll spiral out of control if I let it. I still feel all those things. That doesn't just go. It's not like all those things are magically gone. I mean, when you practice gratitude, that's the antidote for the other things. I don't mean that. I don't mean that over the course of fight week you won't be incredibly anxious or incredibly grateful, and it might fluctuate between the two. You might oscillate between the two, but I mean, in the moment that you're practicing gratitude, you aren't anxious.
Okay.
Like in the moment that you go, like if you call me and you go, hey brother, which also by the way you can do if you ever,
Thank you.
I know you got a support system, but shout out to Men's Mental Health. We're just outside of June, so if you called me and said, hey brother, I'm fucking going through it, like I'm so anxious, and I gave you what might seem like corny advice, but I genuinely think is a great tool. If you called me and said, hey brother, I'm feeling anxious. I'm really going through it right now. And I said, sit down and write out 3 things you're grateful for. And actually sit and think about those things as you write them. Give me 3 things you're grateful for. And you said, I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my daughter. I'm grateful for my beautiful home. I'm grateful for my immensely successful MMA show. I'm grateful for the fact that I get to pay my bills doing what I love every day. As you're writing those things, I guarantee when you're writing those things, if you're really practicing that gratitude, at least in that moment, the anxiety isn't there. And it's definitely, if it's there, it's got the volume turned way, way down. And so you might feel anxious when you wake up first thing in the morning, and you might feel anxious when you're laying in bed at night in a dark room staring at the ceiling, and you might feel anxious before you walk out to your fight, and you might feel anxious before the big weight cut. But if you use that gratitude to recenter yourself back to the present moment, that anxiety doesn't exist. Your anxiety exists because you're trying to control things that aren't in your control. You're trying to control things that are happening 10 minutes from now or 2 hours from now or on Saturday or that happened 10 years ago that you wish you could change, right? When you're in the present moment, there is an anxiety because in the present moment, you handle whatever's in front of you. In the present moment, there is no thinking about what needs to be done. You just do it. And a good piece of armor to deal with what's in front of you in the present moment is that gratitude.
This is why I love talking to you and people like you. It's because we've been talking
Thank
for
you,
20
brother.
minutes and I haven't even asked you a single thing about the actual fight. This is why I love that. I truly,
Thank
truly
you,
love
brother.
that.
Yeah. Me as well. I love talking to you.
Thank you. So could I ask, because I saw on your Instagram, you said you weren't too happy with the fight, with the performance.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I was incredibly unhappy. And this is the thing, like a lot of people might not come out and admit this, but I can't fake the funk. Like if you like me, I appreciate it. And if you don't like me, I understand there's plenty of things not to like, fuck you, but I get it. But you're always going to get me. Like it's always going to be me. I can't fake the funk. I can't come out there and be like, I'm the fucking man. I did. It's like, the truth is if I feel like that after a fight where I feel like I'm the best 45er in the world, because I do believe that. If I feel that way after the fight, I'll say it. But if I feel after the fight that I didn't perform to the best of my ability, I'll say that too, because I just keep it real. Like I'm gonna always give people the authentic version of myself, and that's how I felt, man. I got done with the fight, and all my coaches are like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, man?" I'm like, I'm just not happy with myself. I got back to do all the media with you take the pictures with the team and you talk to the media and they ask you all these questions and you're supposed to be just telling everyone how great you are, and I'm really happy with the win and I believe I won the fight. I think I did. I actually went back and watched the fight and it was less close than I think people were saying. It was less close than I even felt. And when I got done with the fight, I felt confident that I won the fight. I landed the cleaner shots. I dictated the pace of the fight. I controlled range, even though he was closing in. I'm dealing with a crafty, tricky, awkward, dangerous veteran, and I'm controlling every minute of the fight. So I knew I did enough to win the fight, but I didn't perform to the level that I wanted to perform at. Now that I've gone back and watched the fight twice, I'm actually pretty happy with the performance. But in the moment, I was really down on myself. And the UFC staff were asking me what's wrong. My coaches were trying to tell me to snap out of it. I have a great deal of respect for Cub, and he's a legend. And I wanted to add a feather to my cap where I finished him, where I highlight reeled him. I worked so hard this camp. Like, I did things I've never done. I got out of my comfort zone. I worked so fucking hard, spent so much time focused on my own, alone, putting in work. And not just alone, obviously with my team as well, but I really got out of my comfort zone and worked my ass off, and I wanted to finish, and I wanted a dominant win. And, you know, I did enough to win, and I think the judges got it right, but I wasn't happy with myself after the fight. You know, I'm my own hardest critic, and I was in my head after the fight. I was really frustrated with myself. I was really disappointed. I felt a little ashamed, you know, just being candid. I felt ashamed. I felt I had let myself down a bit with my performance, and
Ashamed is strong.
yeah.
Ashamed of a
Really
win.
ashamed.
Fight of the night on International Fight Week. Ashamed.
Yeah, I can't. I wasn't enough. When I'm done, I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to be one of the greatest ever. I want people to say that every time they saw me fight, it was a fucking spectacle. You know, it was exciting, and I was ashamed when I got out of the cage. You know, I apologized to my coaches, and they're like, "What are you apologizing for?" And I just, you know, I didn't like the way I performed. I wanted to be the standout on the card. I wanted to finish a legend. I wanted to be the thing that everyone was talking about Sunday morning when they went back to work and talked about the fights.
You got the Fight of the Night award and won the Fight of the Night.
Right.
You are describing what you did.
Yeah, and so this is why it's so important to have coaches around that you can trust and who really love you and give a fuck about you. And I'll get emotional right now, man. I love my coaches. My coaches are my family. They're my brothers, and I'm so I don't know where I'd be without them. So they basically told me to pull my head on my ass and snap out of it. Then I won Fight of the Night, and it was like, maybe that fight didn't suck as bad as I thought. You know, right after the fight, I saw Sean Shelby. I saw Sean Shelby right after the fight, and I said, "I'm sorry, man. Fuck, sorry." And he looked at me and goes, "What the hell are you apologizing for? That fight was badass." You know, so that was the first thing. Second thing with getting Fight of the Night, I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad of a fight. And then I went back and watched it the next day, and I was fucking dreading watching it. I didn't want to watch it. My girlfriend Melissa was like, "Put the fight on." I'm like, I really would rather sit here and watch Bob's Burgers and eat chips and salsa and fucking mochi and just relax and not watch this. And my girlfriend, you know, shout out to my girlfriend Melissa, she goes, "Put the fucking fight on and watch it." And so I put the fight on and watched it, and you know, halfway through the second, I look at her, I'm like, not that bad. We did all right. You know what? We did all right. Cub is fucking hard to fight.
Yeah.
And my teammate, my brother, my good friend Mike Malott, he made me feel a lot better. He had a lot of good things to say. And my coach Danny Castillo, and he had a lot of good things to say. My coach Kieran Fitzgibbons from CSA, he wrote me out a paragraph. He's a very analytical guy. He's a very intelligent coach, and he wrote me out a full paragraph. And, you know, basically to summarize was, you know, you didn't do everything that you wanted to do, but you did a lot of great things. And the reason you didn't do everything that you wanted to do wasn't because you're not a great fighter. It's because you're a great fighter who fought another great fighter who's been doing this even longer than you have, which is rare. Like, he also had a game plan that he tried to impose, and he did everything he could to make the fight his fight and win the fight and fight the way that he wanted to. And when you recontextualize it that way, then I can be happier with the win, you know. But in the moment, no, I wasn't especially happy. I was actually quite unhappy. I was quite pissed off. I took my coaches and all my friends who came to see me from out of town. They all came to Vegas to see me. I never do after parties. I took them to Marquee. Everyone's partying, having a good time, having drinks, telling me, "Oh, Derek, you just beat Cub Swanson. You beat a legend." And I'm sitting in the corner like of the club like this, like little black rain cloud, like, "What's up, man? Yeah, thanks. Cool. Yeah, have a drink. All right, good to see you, man." And
do you regret that now? Do you regret that? I mean, those moments aren't going to last forever, right? I mean, at some point, this is going to end.
It will. Yeah. Well, come on, settle down.
No. But I'm just saying, like we just talked to Michelle Watterson.
Ruin my day.
No. But I'm just saying, like, you shouldn't feel that way. I saw the video of Uriah cutting a rug at the party. Like, you should be celebrating that. You won. You didn't lose. You won.
Yeah. So, I won, and I won Fight of the Night, and life is beautiful, and I have beautiful
sulking.
I snapped out of it. You know, I think what helped me snap out of it was well, first of all, the 50 grand from the fight of the night helped me snap out of it. That'll help, right?
Yeah.
That'll help. That'll help anybody get out of there, pull their head out of their ass. But seeing all my friends get to enjoy this sort of moment together that's the whole point of fighting, right? Like getting all your friends in one place and getting to celebrate being alive together and the manifestation of all your hard work, all that hard work coming to fruition, and knowing that you just got 3 checks and you're going to be able to pay the mortgage, and I'm gonna help buy my mom a house. I just bought a badass '88 Bronco so I could give my girlfriend my Cadillac, and like take care of the people. I'm at a point now where I make enough money fighting where I can take care of the people around me. I flew my dad out from Florida. It's the first time my dad and I have spent more than maybe 8 hours together in like almost 20 years. Like,
wow. What prompted
my
that?
dad just wanted to spend some time, like my one of the things that I am more fortunate, I grew up a certain way, and you can argue, who had it better, who has it worse. There's people who had it way worse than me, but I went through some tough shit as a kid, and I have been immensely fortunate to have parents who not only have turned their life around, but I have gotten a certain closure and new chapter on life with my parents because they both have not only turned their life around, but they've owned the mistakes, like, dude, my mom is like an incredible person. My mom has lost like 60 or 70 pounds. She works out every day. She goes to church and volunteers at church. She journals. She works at a school district where she helps underprivileged kids get free meals, and she does clothing drives. Like, some of these kids are homeless and trying to finish high school at a continuation school and don't have anything. And my mom helps these kids out. Like, my mom is a person that I'm immensely proud of now. I'm ridiculously proud of my mom, and our relationship is like better than I can ever ask for. My dad, who I went actual decades without, really interacting with my dad in any meaningful way. And he was incarcerated for a long time. And, him and my mom's relationship was really toxic growing up. And we got moved away from him probably for the best, when I was only 10. And so now I went from basically 10 years old to my UFC fight in Sacramento without really seeing my dad. So we're talking legitimately almost 20 years.
Wow.
And now my dad's been out of prison for 4 or 5 years now. He's moved to a place where he's away from whatever bullshit he could get him in trouble. He's a productive, healthy, good person, and I get to spend time with him, and like that's something that I don't take for granted. Like, I'm a person now who has a good relationship with both his parents. Like, me and my dad are homies. We're cool. We we're like sat around the pool, sat around the fire pit having a beer. We brought him to the PI. We sat in the sauna and got to hang out and meet everybody, and took him around Vegas a little bit. And it sounds like, probably to a lot of people, it sounds like pretty regular stuff to have a relationship with your parents, but there was a long time where I didn't, and now I do. And it's funny. I'm like against all odds, I'm like this well-adjusted adult human. Like, I got a good relationship with both my parents. I got a stable, healthy girlfriend who fucking puts up with me somehow. I just bought my second home, beautiful place here in Vegas. I'm able to make enough money to be able to help the people around me. I'm the healthiest and happiest I've ever been. Like, if you'd asked me when I was like 19 what the plan was, it would be like make the UFC, be a UFC champion in my early 20s, die by 27 like all the great rock stars, and go out like a fucking rock star and remember me like that, And now I'm 34, I'm paying taxes, I got a second mortgage. I'm a sellout, I've never been happier. It's the
That's
best,
amazing, man.
It's the best.
That's amazing.
It's
I'm very happy for you. It's great. It's great to hear that and to see the smile on your face. By the way, you mentioned in the post-fight press conference, you talked about the pizza. You were getting pizza, and you said you like everything a little well done. Does that include steak?
Everything a little bit.
Because I get a little shit when I say I like well done steak. Do you like well done steak too?
Dude. No? I'm a medium well guy.
Okay.
And I'll fucking sock anybody who wants to argue with me about it. I grew up eating well done steak.
I feel better.
Okay. And I never I never liked steak that much because it was always not that good. I recognize that if a steak is well done, it's less juicy and tender than if it's undercooked. But I don't like undercooked food. So I have gone from medium, I've gone from well to medium well. I'll do medium well. And people will still scoff at me. Like, they're like, if you don't eat it fucking rare, it's like, bro, I
Who
don't
cares?
cook my fucking food.
Yeah.
Who cares? Cook my fucking food. That's the way I like my food. And this is the issue. People go, come on, you got to get steak guys, like, which is like,
the worst.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Of all the people to be, you want to be a motorcycle guy, you want to be a fight guy, you want to be a tattoo guy, you want to be a history or journalist guy or a fucking whatever guy you want to be, clothing guy, denim head, sneakerhead, whatever. Be whatever kind of guy, pro wrestling, be whatever fuck guy you want. But if you're a steak guy, it's like, leave me alone, dude. Leave me the fuck alone.
People get so mad. They get so mad. They get offended. I think it says more about them than it does about us.
It's like, why do you care about what I'm eating? Why do you care about what I'm eating, first of all? Second, here's the thing. You want me to get a medium steak? I will do a medium steak. I'll even do a medium burger if you actually cook it medium. But steak guys love to be like, fucking steak. So you say, all right, look it, man, I'll do a medium. And then they think in their head they know better than you. Like, trust me, I'll give him medium rare. He'll see. And then they give you this big bloody piece of meat. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I said medium, and this is fucking pouring blood. So now, to be safe, I say medium well, and I stand on that, and I respect you. I like my eggs scrambled hard. I don't like mushy, runny eggs. Like my eggs scrambled hard. I like my bacon crispy. I like my steak medium well. I like my chicken a little extra cooked.
Yeah.
Like I like it a little crispy. Like, cook my food. Yeah. I don't think that should be that controversial of a thing to be like, hey, can you cook my food all the way?
I agree.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you, man.
I feel now anytime someone gives me crap, I'm just going to say, talk to Andre Fili about this.
Holler at your boy.
I wanted to also ask you, because people mention this every time, and it happened a while back, and we've talked a couple of times. I didn't ask you about it, but just curious if you don't mind answering. You once infamously, I think someone said, like, what do you like? And you said that you like, I think
I like big booty Latinas.
Yes. You do have a girlfriend. And so I was just curious how she felt about that comment. Because it comes up a lot.
Like an idiot.
Because like even today, people are like, ask Andre about the big, Yeah. So how does she?
So number one, let's clear the air. My girlfriend is beautiful. She has a big old butt. And she's Filipino, Hawaiian, and Puerto Rican. So she counts as a big booty Latina.
Okay, so there you go. All right.
The second thing is, even if that wasn't true, she's my girlfriend of 8 years. You think she hasn't heard me say dumb shit before? You think you think I haven't made, you think from the beginning of our relationship, the inception of us being a couple, that she hasn't just heard me say off the wall outlandish shit forever? She doesn't. I say stupid shit. I make stupid jokes. I make myself laugh, which is like the main goal. I make my friends laugh, which is like the other main goal. And anybody else who laughs, like that's sprinkles on top. And then when Melissa heard that, she just looked at me and rolled her eyes like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, and of course that's the thing that goes viral. Like I could sit here and articulate the rawest, realest emotions, like the most heartfelt like experience of fighting, and then the thing that I've said that goes viral the most is me talking about butts. So like, what the fuck? What do you want to do? Whatever. I do. I like butts. Like I like big booty Latinas. I like big old butts. And who doesn't? Right? If you don't, like you said, if it says more about you if you care about how a man eats his steak, it says a lot more about you than me if me talking about big old butts makes you feel any other type of way except happy. It says a lot more about you than me. That's how I feel.
We'll leave it at that. You're the man, Andre. Thank you so much. Congrats on the win.
Feelings mutual, brother. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And looking forward to the next one. Well done.
Yes, sir.
There he is.
Thank you.
Andre Fili. I said well done there. It's on my mind now. The stakes are,
I saw that.
Yeah.
I heard that. Rather.
Yeah. I was, I wanted to agree with him on the stake, but then the last comment, I was just going to let him say, whatever he wanted to say on that.
You didn't want to do a...
Who, me? No. No, I wanted to give him a... There's actually a bunch that we could play for that comment. Like there's the Tatsura.
I'm happy to go!
There's that one that you could play. You can also, if you're on the other side, you could play the Francis one.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, you could play that too if you don't feel that way about the stakes or the other comment, So it's just one of those things.
We keep it fair and balanced.
Yes. Great stuff. What a guy, right? I mean, what a freaking guy. He is one of a kind and a real pleasure to speak to.